Location, location, and you guessed it, location. We all know the age-old adage of location, location, location in real estate, and today we wanted to really break that down and talk to you about how location impacts the value of your home and why location actually matters. I think it's just one of those things that we hear it, but a lot of people don't really stop to think about why that is and what it actually means. So some things we want to cover today are going to be to consider with location are school districts, economic conditions, local amenities, future development, crime rates, and also how to evaluate your actual location and determine if it's a good location or not. I think it's pretty obvious, but there are some unobvious things that we will talk about as well. If you don't know who we are, my name is Chris Schwartz. Myself and business partner have the channel Living in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, where we go over lifestyle living, being local, real estate, and really anything that's going on in and around the New Smyrna Beach, Greater Daytona area. Could please like, subscribe, and follow. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you for your support, and let's get to it. All right, so up first, one of the key factors we want to talk about are school districts. But before we get to that, the foundation of why Tim and I value location so much and all the agents with us at White Whale Real Estate are two factors. One is just overall enjoyability of where you live. You want to be able to have amenities and feel safe and just basically have the overall happiness of life of where you're living. You want to feel good about it. That's our big number one. And the number two is the exit on what's going to happen to the property when it's time to sell. Are you in a location that's going to appreciate in value? Is your home going to appreciate in value? You want to make sure that you're sticking to as broad of a sense as you can, because the broader you are, the more options you have to sell when it is time to sell. You may not be thinking you're never going to sell, but one day if you don't, your family will have to handle the estate, and you do want to make it as easy on them as possible. You don't want to have that such a niche home that you're finding that one specific buyer and it's really hard to sell. So that's kind of the factors that we look into, is the saleability on the back end and on the front end. Are we actually going to enjoy and be happy driving home and coming into our front driveway or garage or whatever it is. So on to what we're going to talk about. First key factor, school districts, K through 12. You want to make sure that they're there because you're opening yourself up again to a broad population of who you can sell the home to on the back end. Some things to look for are going to obviously be the grading system of the schools, but also the population of the area as well, and the overall local amenities too with that. So if you have a good population and strong local amenities, you usually have good school systems, which is going to draw more people to the area and help with that resale value. So these are one of the things that people maybe that don't have kids tend to overlook and not really be an important factor to consider if it's in a good school district or not. But if you are looking to really maximize your resale value, considering if your home is going to be in a good school district or not really could make or break the difference for you. All right, so up next, second factor to really consider are going to be local amenities. Now, I know what comes to top of mind for most people when you're thinking about amenities are going to be dining and restaurants, shopping, that sort of thing. So other things that you should really consider, those are some top factors, but other things that are really important that sometimes go unthought about are, do you have paved roads? So we're on the New Smyrna Beach side right now. There is a mix between paved roads and dirt roads. Most of New Smyrna Beach and on the island is paved, but you do have those old school streets that are unpaved, and part of that is just because of New Smyrna Beach wanting to leave some of that local old school charm. But definitely something to consider as far as the city municipalities. What sort of amenities do they have? Here in New Smyrna, we've got boat ramps, we've got sidewalks, we've got bridge loops, bike trails, nature trails. These are all things that are going to add to the resale value of the home and just the overall buyability of wanting people to draw into the area as well. Other things to think about too are what kind of gyms do you have nearby? Do you have parks for kids? Do you have splash parks? Where you're living at, does it match the accessibility of what folks are trying to accomplish? So are people commuting? Do you have easy transportation? Are you quick access to highways? What does the healthcare system look like? Hospitals? Those sort of things are all what I consider amenities. A lot of the time people just think amenities is a luxury item, but I think overall when people are buying a home, making decisions, thinking to themselves, how accessible is the area that I'm moving to? You know, how long is it going to take me to get to the grocery store? If I have to go to the hospital, if I have to, travel to the airport. A lot of these are factors that are really subconscious factors that I think people aren't really realizing they're thinking about, but they are running in their mind in the background. So when you're deciding to buy a home based out on location, on the overall accessibility and what's around there and what's going to be another draw for people to buy your home other than just your home. Numero tres, third thing to consider about location and the impact it has on your home is going to be the economic conditions in the city that you are buying. So obviously you want to take a look at the overall infrastructure of the city. That's a huge indicator. What do the streets look like? Again, back to transportation. Do they have transportation? Is it good? Is it accessible? Just overall, you can get a good idea of the city's economic status by just looking at the different parks and overall maintenance of the city. That's a big indicator of what's going on and how the city officials are trying to keep up the city. And if you've never seen a flamingo mailbox before, check that guy out. That's pretty cool. Welcome to Florida. So other things to think about as far as economic conditions are, what is the overall population doing for work? What does the industry look like in the area that you're moving to? Is it good? Is it stable? Is it productive industry work? And is there future work still to be had in the area? In other words, are you moving into a town that may be popular right now, but a big business or big industry is slated to move out in the next couple of years? That's definitely something you should be paying attention to and seeing what the overall workforce looks like, because again, if you're retired or you don't need to work anymore, when you go to sell your home, you may be selling to somebody that does, and if you don't have any jobs available in the area, it's going to greatly affect the people's purchasing power and the affordability that they can have with your home if you're trying to maximize the value, which most people are when they try to sell. You know, you don't want to buy high and sell low, so most people are trying to do the opposite, and we hope you do too. And number 4, when thinking about location, so we just got done talking about economics and what the city economic looks like, what the workforce looks like. What does the future development of the city that you're looking to buy in look like? You can get a lot of great information. Usually cities that are up and moving and forward thinking will post a lot of their stuff online. You can go to city websites, you can follow them on their social media pages. Usually Facebook is where we're seeing a lot of information that's being put out by the cities. It's just the transition between Facebook and their main website. You're able to kind of fill in the blanks and see you know, what's projected to be going on, what's actually happening, and to see if they're actually, you know, putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak. So really important to see what the city's economic future looks like. I know I just mentioned briefly ago, are they keeping the industry that's here? Is there industry moving in or moving out? What is the city's stance on attracting new industry in? Are they talking with home builders? Are they talking with commercial builders trying to bring in more outside high-paying jobs to the area? All these are going to be big indicators on whether the value of your home is going to go up a lot, or it's going to stay where it is, or possibly go down depending on the overall environment, if you know, who's coming in and out as far as the workforce goes. But something to really think about. I think a lot of people get so caught up in the emotion of buying and selling, and they just want to be in an area that they're not really thinking about what the overall future development of the city that they're trying to buy the home is. Something else to really think about is too, if there is development slated and there's a lot of development, what does that look like for accessibility and just being able to move around? Like, is it going to take you 30 minutes to get to where you usually went to go grocery shopping instead of 10 minutes? Are you going to be okay with that? A lot of people, like in the New Smyrna, are moving off the beach side because there's just a lot more traffic than it used to be, and it's just getting a little bit more congested. Me, I'm on island time, so it's okay. I'm all right. There's always a price to pay, but just think about that though, and try to be objective and not get caught up in the emotion of what does that actual development look like and how is it going to impact you and your family in the future. Look out for crime! Obviously, something very important to consider for your safety, your families, and everybody that you love and care about is, what are the crime rates? You can usually find some good statistics on this. Just go on doing a quick Google search on crime rates near me, or crime rates, put your zip code in. Something really important to think about. I know a lot of the people we talk with, it doesn't really even seem to come across them. They don't really think about it, albeit we do live in a really safe area as well. So I think that may be a little bit on why people aren't so concerned in the New Smyrna Beach area about what, you know, really researching crime rates. New Smyrna overall is a pretty safe area to live in. But if you're moving somewhere from out of state, another city to another city, definitely something to consider. You know, you may hear all the great things about how this city is, and then you get there and then it's like your radio's stolen and you don't have wheels on your car when you wake up in the morning. So definitely check it out. I know like in New Smyrna Beach, our police are really great. Our chief, Eric Fieldman, he's amazing. He's accessible and easy to talk to, and they have a transparent agenda of what they're trying to accomplish. So that's always a good sign, and it makes you feel good when the police are working with the community and trying to tie in with the fabric of the community overall and being transparent about what they're trying to do. And it's overall safety for the community. Like I know in New Smyrna, we've got spring break coming up in a couple weeks. The chief has already talked to us about his plan in place. He's made the plan public for everybody to already know and learn and understand about what's happening, why there's gonna be an influx of police. So it's not just some surprise and some authoritative state of, hey, we're the police and listen to what we're saying. So it's definitely something to definitely check out when you're moving into a new area that you're not familiar with. It's just what the crime rates are and what the overall temperature of the relationship between the police and the public as a whole, because that can really have a big determining factor on our number one is the enjoyability and the environment that you're living in. So, you know, if you've got everybody in a good cohesive work environment of trying to keep everybody happy and healthy, you're probably gonna be happy and healthy. So definitely check the crime rates out. If you need help doing that, we will leave a link in the description below. I'm sure it's gonna be something like myneighborhoodcrime.com or something that'll be able to give you some stats on what's actually going on in your neighborhood. But check it out, definitely gonna affect the resale of your home in the future. All right, and lastly, I will leave you with today is trust but verify. So just because your location says it can be accessible to do what you want to do, examples would be put up a shed, put in a pool, short-term rental zone, bed and breakfast on city sewer instead of city septic, or zone for either or. Verify all this. Just because another real estate agent has put this in the description that you've read on Zillow, short-term rental zones or whatever it is, does not mean it is necessarily true. I will say it does not mean that they're trying to do something malicious or take advantage of you. They could just be misinformed, and the rules are always changing. The city is always getting together, putting in new zoning rules and regulations. There's always a battle going on with something about location and boundaries. So really just make sure that you trust the process of going in, verifying everything that you want to, and getting it in writing. That is the big key that Tim and I have really learned throughout our years in real estate and sales in general is we try not to even call planning and zoning or building departments anymore. We just try to send them an email and then have them email us back whatever answer is that we're trying to look for. That way, if they say, hey, this is a short-term rental zone, we've got the proof that they said it was. What is that gonna do in the long run if it really isn't and somebody made a mistake? Not everything can be perfect, but try to CYA as much as you can. A quick good example of location is the house that we started out with, right here-ish, is not in a short-term rental zone where Stud Renovations is doing a construction project right now. But right here, all these on this row of A1A are in a short-term rental zone. So the difference between one lot to another makes a difference if you're able to do an Airbnb or not. Really make sure that you're using a local trusted professional to help you out with the process and that you're not just biting on something because you are excited about it. So make sure you get all your ducks in a row and everything covered. We hope this helps. We hope to see you soon, and we look forward to seeing you in next week's video.